General out
Oh
in the middle
yeah,
of
that's
nowhere?
what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off when I was having this fit. I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with icar, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network. Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Oh my God. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? That was Lazarus Black that was with us last hour. I met him down at Writers of the Future in Los Angeles last year. Writers and Illustrators of the Future. He was one of the winners last year. He's actually an illustration judge, and he was one of the writer winners last year. And no, it had nothing to do with him being an illustrator, by the way. It doesn't work that way. Even if he could have talked someone into putting his story in, it wouldn't matter because all the stories go in, they're blind judged. They're giving a number. Yes, that's all they're given. They're given a number, and then boom, they go to the other judges to they go out to the other judges. The judges read them. They either say yay or nay. First, you even got to get there. It's not even that easy to get there, guys. So there's a lot of competition, so we should have checked it out. But anyway, that is not what we're here to talk about this hour, is it? No, it is not. We are here to talk about something entirely different. Uh, yes, I see. Sorry, I had just seen that comment come up there. Actually, what we're here to talk about is why in the hell would aliens come here and what are they exactly trying to do? I mean, all my new age friends, they swear, okay, being a centralist kind of person, I'm kind of in between on all this anyway, but all my new age friends always tell me, Joe, they're here to save us. Oh, okay, well, why don't we be here to save us? Now, remember, I've been in the field for almost 40 years. It's a long time to be in one field, and I haven't seen the evidence to suggest they're here to save us. I haven't seen the evidence that suggests they're here to eat us or kill us. So that's another part of this. So what is it? I mean, so, again, Joe, no, you're wrong. They're here to save us. Okay. So you think the aliens are here to save us? Well, tell me how they're here to save us. By enlightening us? Well, they've been here a long time, and we don't seem to be getting any more enlightened. Matter of fact, in the last 50 years, we seem to have gotten less enlightened. So if they're doing it, they're screwing us up even worse, right? So I don't think that's what this is about. If they really wanted to enlighten us, they could just come out and say, hey, look, we're going to show ourselves. We came to your world. We're going to show ourselves around the world, and we want to help you to become an enlightened species, so that maybe you can join the galactic community. And then maybe we would have a shot. But that's not what's going on. I mean, how many countries are on the planet? There's a buttload. How many of them can get along with each other? Not many. It's like 3 groups of countries right now. And so we can't expect to get into any kind of galactic community. We can't even get along with each other. And I'm pretty sure that's a prerequisite to join any community, that your planet is united. Well, I'm not seeing that happening anytime soon. I don't think your planet's going to be united anytime in the near future. And look, don't ask me. I have nothing to do with any of that. I can't make y'all behave yourselves and unite the planet. There are things that have to change. Either religion has to go away, or there has to be complete religious tolerance. Okay, that has to be. Finances and the way we do finances and the way we look at money and wealth has to change, or there just will never be peace with the way we do things right now. You know, there's been 4,000 years of religious wars on this planet, on and off, and it hasn't stopped. It's gotten a little better, but it still hasn't stopped. This religion did it, that religion did it, this religion did it. Well, currently the last group would have been Muslims, but it doesn't really matter. All religions are guilty of it. So if you want to hate on one religion, that's just shame on you, because all religions are guilty of it. They've all killed and maimed and whatever for their name of their God. And you think, when E.T. looks at that, and they go, Mr. Human, what God do you actually believe in? Is it the God that I believe in? Must not be, because our God wouldn't tolerate that crap. Humans we're just a wreck is what we are. We have let the media have entirely too much control in our lives. So again, why would E.T. want us to be involved with them like that? We instead of listening to our own intuitions and our own realities, and just generally good advice from people, we want to go listen to some crazy guy on the television ranting and raving about God knows what. And and that just doesn't help us. It just seems to keep things spiraling down in the same damn mess. So hopefully that'll change. It won't happen in my lifetime, but maybe in the next 2 or 3, maybe my 3rd or 4th incarnation from now, it might actually have happened. But still, I don't know, guys. It looks bad as far as how we're going to get all this done. I know a lot of good people on planet Earth. I really do. I know a lot of crappy ones, and I know a lot of in-between ones. So we're just nowhere near that yet. So again, why is ET here? Obviously, they're not here to enlighten us. Okay, from a New Age friends, I know that upset y'all, and I don't mean to upset you, but they're really not here to enlighten us. Frankly, the majority of planets not enlightenable anyway. We're just not to that stage of our evolution yet. So I don't think that's what they're here for. And as far as killing us or eating us, they could have done that eons ago. And the same thing with enlighten us. Think about it. 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 500 years ago, anytime they could have showed up when there was far fewer people on the planet, they could have united the planet, they could have enlightened the planet. By now, we would be in a technologically advanced society interacting with the cosmos. But we're not, because we allowed religion to dictate our courses. And I guess as far as ET is concerned, that was dumb on our part. But I'm sure all extraterrestrial races start out similar to ours. And I mean, everybody's got to start at the bottom and work their way up, unless somebody just comes in and intervenes. I mean, really, that's how it goes. So everybody's got to evolve from whatever primordial soup they are to the beings they become today. So, I mean, I'm not sure how it's going to work out for everybody, but our planet, unfortunately, we just fracture. It's there's no coherence. There's no consistencies. There's too many truths is what the problem is. So if someone tells you something, you can go on the internet and find 5 truths, but there can only be one truth. But the problem is it's everybody can argue now that this is the truth, or that is the truth, or this is the truth. And even though when they're wrong, I mean, we watch this all the time in our politics. Even when they're wrong, they won't admit it. Well, that's a prerequisite. You need to admit your mistakes. I hate to. I've made lots of them in my life, and I hate to admit the damn things, but I do. I even talk about them sometimes. I admit the mistakes we made with icar, with the radio station, with construction companies, with all kind of stuff, because you can't grow if you don't. As a society, we need to grow. just to have a closer relationship with the extraterrestrials. Because frankly, right now they're looking at us like, wow, that guy's dog is smarter than he is. No, I'm not kidding y'all, man. I mean, the Greys and the humans look at us as second class. Well, let me rephrase it. So the humans look at us as second class citizens. They do have their favorites, but they look at us second class citizens. The Greys look at us as family, but young, ignorant family, not mature, just an ignorant kind of family. The Greys look at us more as pets because they're so much higher than us on an evolutionary scale. I don't know if there's any other way for them to look at us. They look at the reptilians and the humans more as children. Like the reptilians and humans look at us as children, the Greys look at them as children. It's just the way it is. And the Greys, of course, look at us like, well, one day you might be a real sentient species, but right now you're a bunch of morons running around on your planet screwing things up. And I imagine they get a big kick out of us every time we say we're killing the planet, because I'm sure they say the same thing I do. We're killing ourselves, not the planet. There's nothing we're going to do to the planet that it won't rebound from. We've watched horrible disasters on this planet. Somebody said, well, nuclear war, we'll never recover. I said, you do know this planet's been impacted by asteroids. On several occasions, there's been 5 mass extinctions on this world, which we don't even only know about how one of them started, or we think we know how one of them started. So knowing these kind of things, puts us on just not when it's not on a level playing field. So let's go back to, why would they try to enlighten this species today? What is it that would make them want to enlighten us? I can't think of anything. As far as giving us warnings of us destroying the planet, well, most of us know that now. And thank you for the warnings, but still, most of us know that now. Whether we want to admit it or not, we have climate change on the planet. And to be honest with you, I think there's always going to be climate change on the planet. I think there always has been and there always will be. Because it's a growing, evolving planet. It's a growing, evolving world. And now it's got 7.5 billion people living on it, or more than that, actually. So things like this are going to happen, and eventually we'll get off the planet. We'll go live in another place. If Elon Musk has his dream satisfied, he'll be living on Mars probably within 20 years, and along with millions of other people. And then eventually we'll colonize in deep space. Eventually, in our solar system, off this planet, there'll be millions and millions of people living out there. And we'll keep going. But meanwhile, aliens are coming to our world. And they abduct people against their will. And a lot of things go on. And we have no real explanation on why. Again, that doesn't sound like someone trying to enlighten us. And if they wanted to wipe us out, it would have been much easier tens of thousands of years ago when they were here. There was hardly nobody here. And there was no weapons. We had nothing to fight with. Sticks and stones, arrows. I mean, what is an arrow going to do? A flying saucer? A nuke? I don't even know if a nuke would affect us flying saucers, but at least we got them now. But we had none of that stuff then. It was just, we were just Stone Age people. They could have wiped us out then. They could have wiped us out any time up into where we are today. So if they were here to wipe us out, we'd be dead. If they were here to enlighten us, we'd be enlightened. So what is it? If they're not here to enlighten us and they're not here to kill us, what the hell are they doing here? And why do they feel a need to take our citizens, and why do they abduct in family lines? What are they after? Are they simply here to observe from whatever time the extraterrestrials intervened or interbred with us way back when to see what happens? I think it's more than that. I think that might be part of it. I think they are here to observe a lot of things, but I think they have other agendas in mind. They seem to have a lot of agendas. And no, whoever sent me that, the Greys are not using our DNA to make themselves better. That's bullshit. They are so far beyond us in evolution, they don't want to be like us. Greys are like 50 times stronger than us, probably 1,000,000 times smarter than we are. I mean, their brains are probably 3 times the size of ours. They have telekinesis, telekinetics, empath, telepathic abilities. They just possess it, and it's just a natural thing to them. That's why we always tell contactees, think questions to them, because I'm sure a lot of times they will answer without thinking about it, because that's just the way their world works. It's not, we speak, they think. Not that they can't speak, it's just they don't. They don't have to. Well, telepathy is a much faster form of communication, and usually a more accurate one. So they just do it, and we're learning it. And anybody on board the ship, most contactees, matter of fact, every contactee I've ever met is empathic. Most are empathic and telepathic. And it could be that's one of the reasons they track those family lines, because originally they interbred and created those things inside of us. So they want to track and see how to develop it. And before anybody asks, because I see somebody getting ready, I can just tell by the way the sentence is going that they're going to ask, or they're going to say, all people are telepathic, they're just latent. That is not true. And I challenge anyone listening to this show to prove me wrong. I've had colleges challenge me, and I said, look, it's up to you to prove me wrong. I said, go get a set of cards, go to any mall in this country, sit down in the mall, and put 2 cards down. And you look at the cards, and then you look at the person and say, tell me what the color of the cards are. It's simple. I mean, this is as easy as you can get for a telepathic test. You're going to find that the majority of people, 80% or more, don't get anything right. Matter of fact, most of them miss it more than 50-50, more like 60-40. 70-30. It's ridiculous. It's like, when you flip a coin, you should be 50-50, but for some reason, humans a lot of times aren't. It goes the other way, unless you're telepathic. And flipping a coin is different. That's not telepathy. That would be seeing the future, because you have to know where the coin's going to flip, what size it's going to be on. That's not the same as telepathy. Is being able to see through someone else's eyes or something like that. So, or just sending it out in general. But if you're looking at those cards and that person's telepathic, they can read the colors in your head. They'll know which one it is. If they're a strong telepath, they can probably see through the cards. But a real telepath will just simply look in your head and say, okay, it's green, it's red, it's green, it's red. Doesn't matter how many times you move around, or even if you change colors, they're going to get it right almost every time, because they're true telepaths. Empaths, or sometimes their telepathic abilities aren't as good, but you can sense a lot about them as well. And that's one of the other problems for contactees or abductees are when you're empathic and you don't know you're empathic, it can cause all kind of problems for your life. One, you could be sending, so every mood you're feeling, you send to everybody else, and you think why your spouse or your other half is like, why you're acting like that, because that's how you feel, and you're sending it to them. But a lot of empaths receive. Some do both, but some of them receive, and they don't understand. You know a person, you think they've got like bipolar or something like that, and they're not. They're empathic. And they'll walk in a room, and they'll sense the emotions in the room, the overall feel, and it'll affect them. And if it's happy, sad, or in between, or any of that, that's the mood that will happen. But if you're a sender, if you're in a good mood and you walk into a room, the mood will change in the room pretty quickly. They'll become very enlightened and empathic. And happy. Get off of it. And things like that anyway. So one of the telltales about this is, can you actually get someone to sit down and really have strong abilities that's not a contactee? So the telltale is that you have to be a contactee or an abductee. I don't think laymen's have the ability. I haven't seen any proof to suggest that laymen's have the ability. So the telltale for me is, if you don't have the ability, if you're not empathic, you're not a contactee or an abductee. It's that simple. Okay, if you're out there and you think you've been taken, but you're not empathic or telepathic, you're not a contactee. They wouldn't even bother. It's in family lines anyway, so it may be latent in people, but it'll always be there. And you'll know, because when you're on board the ship, you're hearing what they're saying all the time. But you can send to them. That's how you know you have the ability. Things you're thinking, they'll pick up on. Even if they're not scanning your head, they'll pick up on it because you're sending it. And you can test it. A lot of people know, like, clairvoyance is a little bit different. Like when you know who's on a phone or who's knocking at the door, that's clairvoyance. That's knowing something ahead of something coming out of the future. It could be immediate future, but it's still knowing something. So that's clairvoyance. It's a little bit different. And most contactees are very clairvoyant, at least in small things anyway. I couldn't tell you on how large, because there's studies running, but they're nowhere near finished. It'll be a decade before those studies are done. And they're already a decade old, but it's stuff like that is slow going because there's so much comparisons work you have to do. And it also depends on, and you have to be able to trust everybody you're working with, because there's a lot of personal data from people in these things. So, no, Carly, actually, we're just getting ready to go back to that. So again, they're not here to save us. They're not here to kill us. We know they're here to observe some stuff, probably the original interaction of the family lines coming down. But what is the real goal here? Is it just to watch us till we evolve into them? I don't think so, because they could come and go for that. They wouldn't have to stay here all the time. There'd be no need for it. They could just pass by Earth every 100 years or 500 years and check on us. Say, oh, well, no, whoa, shit, what happened here? But that's not what they're doing. They have a presence here. And not just here, they have presence in our solar system. It's not an invading presence, because if it was, we'd already be invaded. That's not what this is. Um, and some people think we might be a jumping off part to the another spiral arm further out. It used to be we thought we were the farthest spiral arm in the galaxy. And recently we found that the galaxy is a little bigger than we thought it was. It's 160,000 light years versus 100,000 light years across. So it moved our spiral arm inward a little bit. But anyway, some people think that's why the tall whites are and stuff like that, because they use Earth as a jumping off point to jump between spiral arms, one before, one after. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I have no idea. It is interesting, though. So we know that the aliens run a lot of different agendas. We know they run breeding programs. We know that they're genetically engineering bodies for husk bodies for humans. And when I say that, they're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it. So to clarify, Greys, reptilians, and humans can grow host bodies easy, their own bodies. They can enhance them. And then at the moment of death, they can be uploaded to a new body. It's that simple. It's something we've been working on now for about 15 years. The U.S. government started working on it, but some other big companies picked it up. It's because some guy in the 90s put a microchip in his head and was able to record memories. Someone decided that we should be able to do this. I know they talked about it in early 2000. They talked about it again in 2005. I really haven't heard much about it since. And in the beginning, it's not going to be for us. It's going to be for the rich. The Bill Gateses and Elon Musk and the Jeff Bezos who can afford to have a new body and have their consciousness uploaded into a new body. What do you mean? Can you take your consciousness and load it into someone else's brain? Probably, but I imagine with two consciousnesses in one head, it would be a nightmare. Well, you mean is it digital stored? So when it uploads in your conscious, are you really you, or are you on the other side? So what you're asking me is really, so if I upload myself, if I die and I upload my consciousness into a new body and I come back in a new body, is my soul somewhere else? That's what you're really asking, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think so. I think I can't say how we're going to do it, but I think as far as the Greys, reptilians, humans go, they understand how to pull the essence of themselves out and put it in. So they're not just pulling their brain out; they're pulling their consciousness out. They look at it a little bit different. It's like they absorb the energy from him and then put it into a new body. I have no idea. I have no idea how it works, what it could possibly, how you would do it. I mean, judging from the science I've heard, for us, you scan the brain, it uploads everything in the brain, and it holds it, and then the new brain is empty, and it downloads it straight into the new brain. So what it does is, and I'm just guessing here, is it somehow either pulls the electrical current out of the brain or copies the electrical current out of the brain and then puts it into a new brain. Whatever it does, it works, because the Greys live to be ancient. So, yes, ancient. Yes, much older than any of the other races that we know of, or that we've had contact with, I should say. So, why would they do that? Why in the hell would they be creating bodies, host bodies, husk bodies, whatever you want to call them, for humans? And look, there are countless abductees and contactees that have talked about this. Countless. I mean, there's buttloads of them talking about all these human bodies on board these ships. At first, we thought they were just abducting humans and keeping them there. Just humans for whatever reason, for food or whatever, breeding purposes or whatever it might be, but that's not what's going on. When you hypnotize people, or when people can control their emotions when you're talking to them, you get a lot more information. And when you start asking them, stop, look at the person's face, look how they're dressed, or are they dressed? Are they just naked? How do they look? What age did they look? And most of them would say it was them, slightly altered. The head looked a little bigger. Their body was a little different. Like a lot of people said their bodies were a little thicker, which suggests maybe they were going into a heavier gravity environment, maybe a 2G, 3G environment, something like that. Some of them just look like regular bodies, like they're going to stay here. Still altered with some type of abilities. And then we started noticing when people would write us about this, they would talk about the bodies, and they said next to the bodies was a list, and they felt it was a list of the abilities of the body. I have no idea if that's true or not, but it is something they talk about. And a couple of them said it's information they got from the Greys. Maybe it is. It's quite possible. And it is very interesting stuff. But as far as the body thing goes, no, we have that from all three races, and we have that from multiple witnesses. So that's a little bit different. But still, and then we have all this stuff where for a long time we were getting reports of UFOs over graveyards, UFOs over mortuaries, UFOs over hospitals, and morgues. And I'm like, what the hell? What I mean, it got a little morbid. I'm thinking, what the hell are these guys? Are they taking the dead people and maybe they're eating them? Everybody's into this eating thing. I was like, so over the years we kept plotting away, plotting away, plotting away, and then we realized that they do take the essence of you and upload it into a new body. So whether you agree to this or not, I don't know. There's been a big argument amongst contactees and abductees whether this is something you agree to or is just something they do. So remember, you may be cheating death, but for religious people, you're being cheated. So for Jack over there, who's an agnostic, so if this happens to him, he's like, all right, I get to live longer. Okay, this is cool. But for Mary Jane over who's a Christian or a Muslim, they just got cheated from going to heaven or Mecca. So will they really be happy about it? Because maybe they're thinking of going to see their kids or their parents or something like that. And now it's just them on some alien world somewhere. I would think the aliens would want you to agree, but I don't know. And I can't say for sure that's what happens. Mary Lynn, the gray alien. Well, nice to meet you, Mary Lynn, the gray alien. Where are you actually gray alien at? New York City. You see, I know you're not a gray alien. New York, they don't even probably. That Gray's probably don't even go to New York. Oh, well, I wouldn't. No, never mind. We're not going to go there. So, what you got for us tonight? You think they babysit us? That they're here to watch that we don't screw things up? I would think that, but we can't even get into deep space. It'll be decades before we even get outside. Shit. It'll be 100 years before we get outside the solar system. Manned outside the solar system. Well, Proxima Centauri is 4 light years. Proxima, the other one is 3.8 light years. And so for us, halfway to Proxima is approximately 2 light years out. So at half a light speed, that would take 4 years to get there. It would take 8 years to get to Proxima at half a light speed. And that's hauling ass. 8 years. So it's not like, I mean, we could build these big, huge crafts and just put people on and send them out there, but why do that? Why not, have a base on the moon where we launch from? Stop off at Mars at the colony, stop off at one of the colonies, an asteroid belt, refuel, stop at one of the moons of Saturn or Iopa. The trip will take a little bit longer, but it'll be a much more comfortable trip, and you won't be stuck on a ship the entire time, and the ship won't have to have all those resources the entire flight, because a lot of these stop-offs will have resources that you'll be picking up. So it'll be different. So it's called stepping stones, and I've talked about actually quite a few scientists about this, including Michio Kaku, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Paula Vett. I had all three of them on the show talking about it. It's the way we're going to do it for a long time until somebody comes up with either gate travel, wormhole travel, or faster than light travel. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to do stepping stones. We're going to build here, build there, and we're just going to keep going and going and going. And eventually, there'll always be a string going back and forth. As we start to colonize Proxima, we'll have ships going on a regular basis, and they'll be coming back on a regular basis, and they'll be stopping at these ports, back and forth, back and forth. We're definitely going to build something around on Jupiter's moons. We're definitely going to build something on one of Saturn's moons. Probably more than that. We'll probably put something on Pluto or Chiron. Pluto's turned out to be something entirely different than we thought it was. So as we go along, there will be colonies here. There'll be pit stops here. There'll be way stations here and stuff like that. Refueling stations, picking up water. There's fresh water all throughout the solar system. So there's no need to load up all the water from Earth and carry it out. You can stop in several places, even out in the asteroid field, the Oort cloud. As a matter of fact, you can get water out there. So we won't need to do it that way, and there'll be lots of resources. And as a matter of fact, a lot of stuff that it takes to make fuel and stuff like that, you can find on asteroids and places like that. So, and then we might go to using helium-3 or antimatter or dark matter for that matter. There's lots of ways, lots of things we're learning, and eventually we're going to get out there. But right now, the best we can hope for is half a light speed. You mean with solar sails? Solar sails are interesting. The problem with a solar sail is our solar system is full of crap. Um, Maybe when you get out into deep space, interstellar space, it might be less debris out there. But our solar system, there's micrometeorites flying all over the place. I can just imagine what it would do to a solar sail. Kevlar. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. No, yeah, Kevlar can stop a bullet traveling at 5,000 miles an hour, but Kevlar couldn't stop a micrometeorite traveling at about 60,000 miles. And when you go right through it and steal behind that. Yeah, I mean they're just traveling at speeds that we just don't see around here because we have an atmosphere. So all these different agendas. So we can rule out that they're not here to enlighten us, and we can rule out they're not here to kill us or enslave us or anything along those lines. At least not right now. So going back to the agendas, we know one of the agendas they're creating host bodies. We know there's at least 3 agendas dealing with breeding programs where they're taking eggs and ovaries and all sorts of stuff, and sperm and all the kind of wonderful stuff. Well, when you say hybrid, Mark, you mean like an alien human hybrid that lives on Earth? Is that what you're talking about? Well, I got to take us off the main feed here in a little while because our Outer Realm's getting ready to start. Yeah, so the ladies get the main feed once they start. No, we'll still be on for about another 10 or 15 minutes, but they'll be on the live radio feed. So anybody listening to live radio who wants to hear the rest of this, you're going to have to jump over to one of the YouTubes or Facebook pages to catch the end of it. That's about 5 minutes from now. So these different races that come here and look at us and talk with us and abduct us and do things to us and breed and run breeding programs, are they really trying to make a better human? Is that what they're after? Are they trying to make you and me a better human? Are they trying to make us a better slave? You know, we talk about this being uploaded into these host bodies, your consciousness being taken off world. Are you a slave now? Have you just become a slave? Is that what's going on here? Or are they using you for colonists? I mean, a lot of people die every day on Earth. And if they were taking the contactees, that's a few every day. You could have a decent sized colony. You could even have a decent sized army. So is that what they're doing with us? That's the question, isn't it? We don't really know if they are, if they're not. And it's a hard question because when I talk to some contactees, they're like, no. It's fire and betterment. And we become part of their families and their groups and the colonies and stuff. Well, that's great. I'm all for that. But how do you know you're not out there mining stuff? Maybe that's why they have those hyper bodies. Maybe that's why we have these maybe that's why the aliens are creating these hybrid bodies so they can put you on worlds that these bodies couldn't last on. I don't know. And then again, I would hope that they would ask before they did that. Well, Marsha, would you want to be taken? Okay, let's say you've got kids and grandkids and so forth and so on, and you're dying. So, do you want the alien to come take you and upload you into a new host body? Do you want to die and cross over, where you might see your kids or your family or whatever, your pets, whatever might be over there? No, I said pets because somebody posted something on a page, but really, I mean, how is this? I know. We got to switch servers here in a few minutes, guys and girls. So, matter of fact, let me put the girls over here. We can chat a few more minutes. Oh, I don't see them on yet. Well, when they go live, we'll switch them over. Oh, a couple more questions and we got to go. No, I don't think they're here to save us. I don't think they're here to kill us. I don't think they're here to enlighten us. I haven't seen any real evidence to suggest that they're here to do either one. Yeah, I've had contactees tell me, they're enlightened. They're going to enlighten us. Really? Okay. I asked the first abductee that question 40 years ago. Here's 40 years later. Does it look like we're enlightened? I'm just asking. It looks like it's gotten worse, not better. And about all them times in the Middle Ages, why weren't they enlightened people then? Or before Christ, why they weren't enlightened people then? See, that's what I'm saying. It's that just doesn't go for what's going on. It's not that I don't think the aliens couldn't themselves be enlightened. I'm sure they are. But enlightening us, I think that's different. And it's not that they might not want to help some of us reach a higher level, but that's not going to get the whole planet there. And that's what we need. And maybe they're going to wait around to see if we can do it or not, or if we're going to blow ourselves up, whichever one comes first. But on that note, guys and girls, we're going to switch over here. Any questions, moans, bitches, gripes, or complaints, you can write to Michelle DeRoche at michellederoche.com. Put attention, say JoJo told me to write to you. All right, Gene. One last question. Go ahead. Oh, well, so the Greys, all right, I'll answer as best I can. So the Greys have an interest in us. They intervened on our behalf between the reptilians and the humans. I don't know if they were going to get in a war or what was going to happen, but the reptilians originally intervened on our behalf. In other words, we were a slave race, and then they started stealing the people from the slave race and breeding with them, and they were having new children. Those children had become much more self-aware. They wanted to know why they had to be the slave, why they had to plow the field, why they had to toil, why they had to do this, why they had to do that. And eventually they overthrew the governments, at least back then. That was after. So we all know we got a reptilian section in our brain. Sorry, guys. We all know we got a reptilian section in our brain, and it seems to have occurred after they interbred with the slave race. So you had the slave race that was created by the Sumerians and the human type aliens, or I should say the human type aliens created slave race, which once the reptilians intervened, that's the race that became the Sumerians. Supposedly that's the race that became the Sumerians. And then after that, the Greys showed up because I think the Greys thought there was going to be a war between the reptilians and the humans. Here's the humans down here to establish a colony on the planet, got a slave race going, starting to use the planet for this, that, and other, and the reptilians show up and say, wait, what are you doing? Well, we're pretty sure the reptilians have always had a colony here, at least for the last 60 or 70 million years. At least. Well, that's what a lot of the researchers think. They think the reptilians were here when the dinosaurs were here. They don't think they're native. Something to do with they're older. They're older than the native part of the planet. In other words, they're older than the reptilian part of the planet, I should say. So reptilians have been around for were around for about 275 million years. The reptilians are somewhere between 500 and 700 million years. It's hard to get a good estimation because when you ask, it always seems to get exaggerated. They remind me a lot of ourselves, the reptilians do. They seem to have a lot of our bad habits, or maybe we've got a lot of their bad habits since they're an older race. And maybe that was the gift they gave us when they interbred and allowed us to have part of their brain, help us become more of what we are today. No, they had a reptilian. Oh, you better read about it. It's an important section of our brain, people. You best go read. I don't want to give you out wrong information, but you best go read. But anyway, we're going to get out of here because I need to make sure the girls are on, and I want to see the three. We have three hosts talking tonight. We have Trish Moe as Michelle and Amelia's guest. Should be a great show. Trish is a lot of fun to listen to, a lot of fun to talk to. That's why she's a host on the network. That's why she has her own show on the network, I should say. So y'all should go tune in. I'll be out of here in a few minutes, so y'all should go tune in and take a good listen to the show tonight. And they're all good looking, so it never hurts. So they talk good and they're good looking, so you can't. I mean, that's a win-win there. It's a win-win, like in the win. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover tonight. Any moans, groans, bitches, or gripes, you can write to me at icar@cox.net. Good night, everyone, and stay tuned for the Outer Realm. Dun, dun, dun.
Show yourself. Oh, please show yourself. You come to me in the night. You take me for
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.